Hello, my name is Haig Manoukian. I am a instructor for JEP MSP program, and I'm going to be going through Lesson 2 of Unit 1 Laboratory Science. So Lesson 2 is measuring mass. So last week, or last time, you did measuring volumes. So this is a similar activity and lesson in general, measuring mass. The materials include a mass scale and some beads or beans, things to weigh. Basically, those are the things that you're going to be weighing, or the students are going to be weighing. And then weighing boats. I used the plastic cups from last time as instead of weighing boats because I thought that they were less flimsy and they wouldn't spill as easily. But again, before the activity, I present my PowerPoint. So, again, Unit 1, Laboratory Science, introduce Lesson 2, Measuring Mass. And again, I start all my lessons the same way: introduce the unit, introduce the lesson, and ask the students what they already know. So I asked them what they already know about mass, if they've ever weighed themselves, and if they understand that different things have different weights or different masses. So then I introduced the definition of mass. Mass is the amount of matter or stuff you're made of. So everything is made of stuff or matter, and mass is the amount of all that stuff. So I asked, to introduce this, I asked some questions. What has more mass, the Earth or me? And then which has less mass, a bean or a house? And these are meant to be extreme examples, kind of, the Earth on one extreme end and me on the other extreme end, just to kind of illustrate the point that mass has to do with what things are made of, or the amount of stuff that things are made of. So obviously the Earth is made of a lot more stuff than I am. And I think getting that point across early on can help them really understand this lesson. So then, how do we measure mass? This was like for volume, we did how do we measure volume, and then we introduced the units. Here they are. And kind of building on things that you do before is helpful. So having leaders in the PowerPoint kind of reminds them of what they did last time, and again, relates stuff to what they already know. So this time we're doing grams and kilograms, and then a few questions. Again, these are kind of extreme, but helps get the point across. And then this is asking about the units. So liters versus kilograms, for example. And then I highlight the answer. So why do we need to measure mass? I had this slide for why do we need to measure volume. For volume, it was for cooking. For mass, it was how big things are, or if they sink or float. Right? So, which has more mass? A mouse or a rock? Monster truck. Yeah. So what tools do we use? This is an introduction to their materials. So they might not be familiar with this kind of scientific mass scale, but chances are good they're familiar with being weighed at the doctor's office or the school nurse or something, and just explaining that those are kind of do the same thing is important. So if you feel that they're really understanding the lesson, you can introduce kind of mass versus weight, and of course weight has to do with gravity, versus mass is constant. So people's weights change on different planets, but their masses don't. That's kind of abstract for second graders, so I personally didn't address this in my lesson, but you definitely can. So again, some more questions, and then story time again at the end of the lesson, just to kind of get them moving. And then the activity. So sometimes I'll put a video, sometimes not. In this case, I did. It was this little boy explaining the difference between an elephant made out of, I think, cotton candy, and then another elephant made out of steel. So that kind of illustrated that point. So back to the activity. I didn't have, when I did this, I only had, I think, 2 mass scales. So I made it a competition. I split the room up in half, and I called students up 1 by 1 or 2 by 2, just kind of get it to go faster. And I had them do a competition for who could reach the target mass with these papers. These are the target masses that you give them. Who could reach it the fastest and be the most accurate. And they're using, again, the beans or the sugar cubes and stuff to weigh or to mass. Again, pre-cutting these before the lesson, very helpful. That is pretty much it, I think. Mass scales, again, you only get around 1 or 2, so make it a competition. That might be helpful. Yeah, okay. So next week, you'll be doing lesson 3, which is microscopy. So I'll be doing that in the next video. Thanks.